Good morning and welcome. My name is Needah Gangji, and along with my good friend Bean, who's an officer with me in many clubs, we're so excited and honored that so many of you could join us. I am an international student from Tanzania studying business administration and will be graduating this semester. Thank you. I plan to continue my studies in marketing and communications and would like to thank Ms. Lauren Donovan, who inspired me to study in this field.
Hello, everyone. My name is Benjamin Hartman, but I go by Bean. I'm studying liberal arts and also graduating this semester with the intention of studying law at Penn State. Thank you. Needah has a long list of leadership activities, but I'd like to point out something that's not in her bio. Before graduation, she will receive the Academic Achievement Award for her major and the Student Affairs Committee's Outstanding Student Award. Let's please give her another round of applause.
This is embarrassing. Well, I have to give a compliment in return. Bean is honestly a very good friend of mine, and he's such a dedicated and responsible member, and I'm really grateful I got the opportunity to work with him during my time in DCCC.
Well, thanks, Needah. I'm also grateful for this opportunity to join you this morning and be part of this conversation. So thank you, everyone, for your time. As president and vice president, respectively, of several clubs, including the Business Society and Debate Club, we're especially excited to facilitate a conversation between these special guests. Dr. Marta Yera Cronin, who is the president of our college, Mr. Andy Kelleher, an expert in the energy industry, who, along with his wife Sheehan, are incredible supporters, and Ms. Francine Sheehan, a leader in philanthropy and through the foundation of Delaware County, has impacted our county and has been a longstanding partner of ours. Let's give one more round of applause for all three of them. If you're curious about anything else about these speakers, we would like to remind you that there is their bio on the pamphlet that you can check later. Thank you.
Before we begin, we'd also like to recognize our fellow club leaders. Could all the club leaders please stand up, and let's all of us give them a round of applause. I'd also like to personally thank all the donors in this room for supporting DCCC. So I'm an international student and I'm not eligible for financial aid, so the scholarships really meant a lot to me. Additionally, I also appreciate the extra support I've received in DCCC, which was possible because of donors like you. So thank you so much, and it's really motivated me to work harder during my time in DCCC. For our conversation, we're going to start with some specific questions for each speaker and then open it up and ask all of you to respond.
We're going to kick it off with you, Dr. Cronin. Your story reminds me a lot of my mama, who's a first-generation Latina who also has a doctorate. So obviously, I really appreciate the opportunities here at this college. How has your background shaped your career here?
So less than 2% of all college presidents in the country are Latina. So for me, it's always been about setting an example. So I feel that every time I come out in public, I represent not just all the students at Delaware County Community College, but first-generation students, students born of immigrant parents, students raised by single mothers in urban neighborhoods. These are all part of who I am, and they've all really given me what I've needed to be able to open doors for other people. It's really important to know that when you're out there setting an example, you have the opportunity to open doors for other people or shut them, depending on how you present and how you represent. So for me, all I want to do is provide everyone with opportunities. I want to be able to have people follow in my footsteps and have opportunities where they don't have to come against the challenges that I faced to get to the door and through the door where I am. Leave that door open for everyone else to come. That's really what it's all about at the community college level, especially. You know, our students come with their challenges, and to be able to provide the resources that they can easily overcome those challenges, that's what we're all about here.
Thank you.
So, Bean, before we move on, I would like to ask you, how has your mama being a PhD Latina helped shape you as a leader among students?
Oof. So it's a lot of pressure, and I'll be the first to admit that as someone who has a mom in such a high place and has literally given her dissertation with me on her hip as a 1-year-old, there's a lot of expectation for me to sort of present and sort of hold up her end of being successful. And part of that was being part of the community and being a leader in the community. I've always wanted to, as Dr. Cronin has said, open that door for other people, because I know how much my mom has worked, and I've seen her work tirelessly time and time again. And I want to repay that to everyone else, because I think everyone deserves an opportunity and needs the chance to show that, hey, we're all working hard for something and we all have a dream.
Hello, Ms. Sheehan. I have a question for you. Looking back at your career, what was one important moment when you realized your leadership could inspire other women in business and philanthropy? And what advice would you give to those looking to create their own path?
So I didn't expect to feel so emotional up here, listening to the students and just thinking about how bright your futures are and how hard you've worked to get here and the difference so many people in this room have made to help you, and that I hope you'll give back in the same way that others in this room have done and make a difference for others who will come after you. My answer is a little bit different because my very first job was in a community organizing training program in Brooklyn, New York, where in a neighborhood called Sunset Park, which Marta will know where that is in Brooklyn. It's a Hispanic neighborhood. Almost everybody there was from Puerto Rico or Cuba, and very few people spoke very much English. And we were going door to door to encourage people to get involved in an effort to enforce what was called the Community Reinvestment Act, which was brand new, which was designed to get banks to lend mortgage money into the neighborhoods where people were placing their deposits. And I was all of 22, 23 years old, and you see how big I am. And I was knocking on doors of people who were very different from me. And even though I'm an immigrant myself from England, I obviously grew up in an English-speaking household. But I know it's not easy to come to this country, even if you speak English. You're leaving your family behind, and you don't know where to turn for help. And so I was going door to door, and that was really my very first experience of encouraging people to get involved in their communities around an issue that was very important to them. And I saw the tremendous difference they were able to make in communicating directly with bankers about how difficult it was for them to own their own homes. They were working 2-3 jobs. They were relying on usurious lenders to be able to borrow enough money to buy a house. And it really did make a difference in the enforcement of the Community Reinvestment Act to get people involved. So my piece of advice that I tell to every young person, at some point early in your career, have a job or a volunteer role where you are asking people directly to do something, to get involved, to register to vote, to buy a product even. If you get that, quote, sales experience, it can really stand you in good stead for the rest of your life. And I don't think that either of these students would have any problem doing that.
Thank you.
And so tell us about your nonprofit.
Oh, so I currently have a nonprofit organization back home in Tanzania. And after joining DCCC, I want to create another organization focused on education, which I plan to do once I go back home after I complete my studies.
Wonderful.
All right, so welcome, Mr. Kelleher. Even though I'm at law, I was also considering engineering and still heavily consider it. From your resume, I know you've led and are still leading a lot of big companies, specifically in the energy industry. And I'm a huge fan of refrigerators and air conditioning, so thank you for what you've done. What's one benefit that the energy industry provides that not a lot of people consider in their day-to-day lives?
Well, besides refrigeration and air conditioning, there's pretty much everything that impacts our lives. And I've spent about 45 years in the energy industry in various capacities, oil refining, oil production, natural gas, renewable fuels, solar, wind. And I can tell you, there's about 8 billion people on this planet. About 10% of those people have no access to electricity. And so you think about that, they have no sanitation. Cooking, they're cooking with wood or dung. So bringing electricity, affordable electricity, is to me one of the more noble careers you can have. And it is a great job, whether it's in engineering or you're a pipe welder or an electrician, you're all involved in the energy industry. So it's been very exciting. I could say that my learning curve for 45 years continued to be vertical. And I encourage anybody that would like to pursue that to think seriously about it. I have a couple of questions. One for Needah. This is nothing but trivial pursuit. Which country is the most populous country in the world south of the equator?
I'm really not good at geography.
Well, you should know this because it's Tanzania.
As soon as I hear like south, north, I'm like, bye, I'm out.
Well, I've traveled all over the world, including Africa, and I can say that the future of the world is really, especially countries with high population growth, is Africa. And the opportunities are going to be tremendous for people like yourself. I have a comment and a question for Bean, and I think I'm very impressed with the students. I spent some time here at the college taking courses for EMT. So I was a certified EMT, and I got to know a lot of the students. Bean, I had a few chats with him right before, during the coffee, and I don't think you set your sights really high enough. I know you're looking to be a lawyer, and you're going to Penn State for law, and you're also looking at being an electrical engineer, which is pretty impressive. I mean, why not be a Navy SEAL or an astronaut?
So part of that is related to the discussion about a very successful person that was an astronaut and doctor and a bunch of other things that honestly are very impressive. However, the way I was raised was always to be someone to, again, sort of provide for others, to talk to other people, learn about different complex topics and stuff like that. And as a background in robotics as well, I've always liked engineering. And law came in when I took a random history class 2 semesters ago and fell in love with reading, again, because I was always a big reader as a child. And for that, I realized this wasn't homework. And I loved learning about the nuances of different parts in our time and how even laws, because I mostly studied the laws of the time, had affected the way the people around us sort of built the place we are in right now. So from the structural beams that hold up this glass to the chairs that you guys sit in, everything was affected by a long line of people trying to strive for the best possible outcome for everyone else around them. And so while, yes, I probably could be a doctor if I would like to be, although I'm a little squeamish around blood, I would rather do something that I'm a little bit more comfortable with and I know I could dedicate my entire life to, such as fighting for people to have more access to these sort of things through the different litigation that we can do as a lawyer, than maybe, dissecting a heart in a classroom.
That's a good answer.
Thank you. So thank you, Mr. Kelleher, for all of those comments, especially still about how much you've sort of understood about the energy industry and how much you've contributed to just the global access to all of this stuff. So I have another question for you as well. I have many interests, and as someone who looked into the workforce development program at my start here, I was interested because your wife and yourself have been huge contributors to that program, and I would like to know, why was that? What was your interest in it?
As I said before, I did spend a little time at the college with the EMT program, but I got to know a lot of the students, and I realized that a little bit of money goes a long way. A lot of them were holding 1 or 2 jobs. Some of them were single parents, and they were going to night school. Very, very challenging. So my wife and I both graduated from Villanova. I personally feel a little disenfranchised by the university model, not just Villanova, but all universities. It's become financially difficult, $75,000, $80,000 a year. A lot of the students now go, they have fantastic facilities, rock climbing walls, gourmet food, luxury apartments. But a lot of the students don't take careers or curriculums that would lead into a successful career. I mean, if you're English lit major, nothing against English lit, but you're not going to come out making a huge wage to support a family. So we realized after visiting with the Advanced Technical Center and Karen Kazichin, how many opportunities there are for younger people to not go down that route of signing up for a lot of student loans, going to a 4-year college. It was kind of like that was what all the kids did. And if you went to Votech, there was a stigma, a negative stigma attached to that. I just wonder who really should have the negative stigma? The kid that gets English lit with a $200,000 loan from the government that makes $30,000 a year, or a guy that gets a degree as an electrician or a plumber or HVAC, making $75,000 out of college with no debt. So to me, this was really, and I could tell you, working in Delaware County for various industries, that there is a major age demographic gap between tradespeople, skilled trades, that are in their 50s and 60s looking to retire, and about 10 or 15 years or 20 years where there's nobody to fill those roles. And those are opportunities. They have great career paths. I mean, Jim Gaffney is one of the trustees here. He represents a lot of the trades. I read 40% of all the skilled trades jobs that are out there are unmet. And there's a big, big demand. And hopefully our efforts contribute to that, satisfying that demand.
Thank you.
So something we worked with small businesses is actually an event we conducted through the Business Society. For 2 years in a row, we hosted the Small Business Fair, whereby we gave DCCC students and their family and friends a space to promote their business, as well as network with other college students. Ms. Sheehan, I know a big initiative coming up is Delco Gives Day, which the college also participates in and is a collective effort of area nonprofits to increase philanthropy for the county. Something I learned and find really interesting is that last year, which was actually the first year, over $1.7 million was raised in one day. Wow, could you talk about how partnerships and why working with DCCC is important for your work?
Absolutely. And one partner I have in this effort is Monica Collins, our VP for Advancement, who's right there in the front row. So if anyone has any questions about Delco Gives Day, please approach Monica as well. But I think this has been a really critically important initiative that we launched last year, and we're hoping will be at least as successful this year. None of us can accomplish anything without partnerships, whether it's in our personal lives or our professional lives or the ways that we engage in the community. At the foundation, we have a certain amount of funds that we're able to give out each year through our impact grants, but we have to really make sure that those impact grants are having as much impact as possible. So we always look in all of our applications at where is the grant proposal accomplishing more than one thing? So if it's an effort, for instance, to build a whole new site for the Delaware County Community College in Upper Darby, the fact that there is a partnership with the YMCA to have childcare training in the same building is a tremendous way to get a double hit when you make a grant. But it's also participating in the economic and community development of the community. And there are so many different ways that Delaware County Community College has an impact on this community. So by investing in the school, and I think Andy really pointed that out, you're training the next generation of students, you're contributing to the economic and community development vitality of this area. There's so many different ways that you have an impact with one grant to one institution. And that's really to what we always look at the Foundation for Delaware County. And is it providing an opportunity to get the community involved in a project? Are you developing new leadership? Hopefully you're bringing students back to the community to work here. That doesn't always happen, but increasingly we're seeing more and more young families and young people want to live in Delaware County because this is a community of small towns and great job opportunities, and right in the center of a lot of transportation and employment opportunities. So having a strong community college here really makes a big difference too.
I definitely agree with that. As someone who is a dual enrollment student, I was also finishing high school, and I started my associates here at the same time. And if it wasn't for such a strong college, I wouldn't have been able to do any of that. And I'm going to be honest, I still struggled. My first semester was god-awful. It was terrible. And I really, really struggled to get into those courses and into that classwork that I actually needed to do to succeed. However, there were a lot of people here, shout out to Allison Gleason, who actually saw my potential and saw that I could be more than just some high schooler that was completely out of his depth. And so I definitely agree with how strong the community college is and how important it is to have such a strong community college. Finally, getting to my question for Dr. Cronin here, what steps are the college taking to ensure that new and returning students have access to affordable education, financial aid, and other additional resources that they all need to thrive?
So enrollment is up this semester. Woohoo! Shout out to Gina Macklin and her team. However, enrollment numbers really are meaningless if we don't get those people back out the door with what they came here for. So for us, resources are super important, right? So we have, we offer financial aid, a lot of great scholarships through the foundation, great work-study program where students can go to class, work a couple of hours, earn some money, go back to class without having to leave campus and disrupt their schedule. There's our Essential Student Resource Center. Shout out to Kendrick Mickens back there. If you're not aware, they have a food pantry. They provide students with school supplies. They lend laptops and they lend textbooks out. And they provide transportation passes and all sorts of resources because we know that life gets in the way, right? When you come here, you're not able to afford the luxury of just studying and doing your work. Most of you have part-time jobs or you have other things. And a lot of our students are not traditional students. They have children at home. They have a lot of things that they're dealing with outside of here. So we try to make here as easy as we can for them. Of course, you guys put in the work, for sure, but we give you those additional resources that you need to be successful. So we're constantly looking at numbers, right? How many of the resources are students taking advantage of? Do we need to increase tutoring, for example, as another resource? What is it that we need to do? Because students change, generation to generation change, and so we need to keep up with that. So we're always looking at what we need to do to change. Just because something worked and supported students 10 years ago doesn't mean that in that same form it's still working. So we're constantly looking at that and getting feedback from the students. What do you need? What has helped you? And it's invaluable. As you know, I have an open door policy. So anytime a student comes to me and tells me, hey, we need more of this, or this isn't quite working the way we need to, then I go bother somebody else around the college and say, hey, what is going on here? How can we fix this or make it better for students? So I appreciate you all being involved in helping your fellow students get the resources that they need.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Bean and I are actually work-study students, and we really appreciate the opportunity we have to make our leadership skills better as well as get experience of working in a college. So, Dr. Cronin, even though Bean and I will be graduating and soon be joining some of the alumni here today, we're interested to hear what new programs or initiatives are being introduced to keep the college competitive and relevant. What are some goals you want to achieve in the next few years to meet the changing workforce needs and provide students with relevant future-proof skills?
So we're getting ready to roll out a few new programs. Artificial intelligence, I believe officially, hopefully, will be the first community college in Pennsylvania to do that. So working on that, exciting. We have transportation logistics. So that's something, the global transport business, all that is changing. A lot of technology being infused. You're seeing semis that are driving themselves out there. So we're working on and making sure that the students are prepared for that new technological shift. Facilities maintenance, we have an aging workforce, so we're helping provide skills to meet the workforce needs. All these are areas where we need people already. So, and it's projected to need more people in the future. We have a sterilization program, anything in healthcare, anything in the pharmaceutical industry. Sterilization is a huge part of that. How does that fit in? So we are constantly surveying and determining what is it that we need to support the local economy and to give our students something to go out there and earn a good wage with. I mean, if we send you out there in the world and you're not either successful in your four-year institution or successful on the job, then we've done you a disservice. So for us, it's a constant look at what can we do. And as far as what I hope to have every single dual enrollment student graduate high school with either an associate's degree or a credential to join the workforce immediately. I mean, why waste the time in between? I wish I could have done that when I was in school. That was not available way back in the Stone Age. But so my goal is to really try to expand that, and I know Gina Macklin and her team are working hard to get that going so that more students have that opportunity. So you don't incur debt and you don't, you're able to just move on. Because a lot of students, when they get to high school, they're like, all right, 12 years, 4 more years, I don't know about this, right? So if we can make that happen simultaneously with high school, how great would that be? So those are the things that we're hoping and looking for towards the future.
Thank you. So moving on from individual questions, I'm now going to open it up to all of the speakers to respond. What's the role that community colleges play in the future of higher education, community leadership, and economic opportunity for residents and businesses? And maybe tangentially, why is this conversation important now, and why are we investing so much time into this?
Well, first of all, I'd like to comment on Dr. Cronin's definition of Stone Age. It's very different than my definition of Stone Age. Paleolithic, yeah, Jurassic. I would think the driving force, at least for our foundation, my wife and I's foundation, is really to provide young people with an opportunity that's not the traditional four-year model, going to college and getting a university degree. I mean, if you could do that, great, God bless you. But the cost of that for a lot of people is exorbitant. You're saddled with lots of debt. It's a burden during your 20s and 30s to pay that back. It delays the formation of families and having kids. And there's a lot of jobs to fill, and these are great jobs. These are jobs that pay more than a four-year degree, and it's a great career. Apprenticeships, really, it's a wide variety of skilled trades. It's not just electricians and plumbers and HVAC, even in healthcare. So culinary arts. I mean, my friend works for Amtrak. He's in charge of the food service for all of Amtrak throughout the country. And they are now starting in the Boston to Washington, D.C. corridor a first-class service. And Stephen Starr, one of the local Philadelphia restaurateurs, is helping manage that with gourmet dinners. Well, they need 85 certified culinary new employees, and the job openings are $75,000 to $80,000 a year. So getting a culinary arts degree and part of the new Southwest Center, what a great opportunity. Amtrak, a lot of that will be done at 30th Street Station. I mean, that's right down the street. So that's our hope.
The other thing, point I would make, a couple of points. One is, I think one of the greatest threats to the health of our country right now is income inequality and misunderstandings about the value of immigration. And the community college serves a tremendous number of immigrants who have come to this country looking for a better life. And we desperately need their enthusiasm, their commitment, their talent, their drive, because these are the people who have been driven to leave their countries. They didn't just stick around and put up with whatever the situation was that they were living in. And their drive to make a better life for their own families can only benefit our country. And the community, and that's particularly true here in Delaware County, where we have such a significant percentage of our residents who do not speak English in their homes. So they are given a tremendous opportunity, an affordable opportunity here in Delaware County at the community college to move their careers forward, their education forward, and again, at a very affordable price. And when we talk about income inequality, we cannot address that without giving people an opportunity to be educated affordably, to build an economically affordable life. I mean, I'm not saying it very articulately, but I think you know what I'm saying. If we're not providing people with the opportunity to be educated, they simply are not going to have the opportunity to build economic security for their families. And I think that's a really critical role that Delaware County community college plays, that there is no other institution in the region that provides the same opportunity in a community where the need exists and the desire exists on the part of the residents who are taking advantage of the college's services.
So we are here to build dreams and transform lives, right? And we do that while supporting the local economy. So it's a win-win for everyone. At least that's how we see it.
So this is a good transition to talk about the future and the Building Community Campaign, which has a goal of $7.5 million for a new location at the former Archbishop Prendergast High School in Drexel Hill. The campaign will also enhance other programs such as the workforce development. It would add scholarships, support our social and economic mobility work, feature our own kitchens for culinary and hospitality for the first time, and provide affordable childcare and early childhood education in a new center.
We'd like to ask your different perspectives and why you think that this project is important and why you were inspired to join the campaign in the first place.
Well, I'll just say that, when we first heard about the campaign, and we know Mike Rank from the YMCA and what a quality leader he is, and at the time, Joy was the president, and we all thought so highly of Joy, but Marta has just jumped right in and I think is doing a super, super job as well. But we thought that the opportunity to train childcare teachers was incredibly, incredibly important. We have a desperate need for high-quality childcare in this community, and affordable quality childcare, and training more people to enter the field is incredibly important. At the Foundation for Delaware County, we're big believers in education. We run early childhood programs through our maternal health home visiting programs, Healthy Start, the Nurse Family Partnership, our WIC nutrition program. We have a big site in Upper Darby where many of our clients are going to have the opportunity to take advantage of this training program, and having a really quality site that people can go to and learn in was very, very important to us. And you're really tackling these issues from both ends: early childhood education and workforce training. And that's one of the beauties of this program that we thought was really worth investing in.
I think from my perspective, my experience taking EMT classes here at the college, I got to know a lot of the students, as I said, and quite a few of them were actually commuting all the way from Upper Darby. I mean, they would take a bus from 69th Street all the way to 252, switch buses, come down. It'd be over an hour. I mean, that's 2 hours of their lives just commuting. And the opportunity at the Southwest campus is going to be tremendous. Just walk out your front door. So a large number of those students are going to benefit, not to mention the child care aspect right there. So huge benefit.
And Dr. Cronin, maybe you could speak about the college's perspective on what we hope to achieve in the future.
So we hope that location will give students who have transportation issues the opportunity to come to school, who wouldn't take the bus, say, for example, or couldn't take the bus. We're hoping also that we can tap into the community. It's very diverse. We're going to be offering English classes there, services for the communities. It's not just about academics and workforce training. It's about supporting the community in general. And our partnerships with the Foundation for Delaware County and the Kelleher family really help make that possible. And just to let you know that the new workforce annex in the building will be named after the Kelleher family. And so we are very grateful for all the opportunities that they have provided our students through the Kelleher Connect program. And if you're not aware, you know someone who might be interested, they can come to school for free and get a certification in a trade and get out there and join the workforce immediately. So it's a great opportunity, and we appreciate the support from both of you.
Thank you, Dr. Cronin.
Can I just say one more thing? I used to work in Chester County. I was out there for 26 years, and I had the opportunity to see how the community college grew into that community and became such an important part of the economic development fabric out there. And, every nonprofit has to balance finances and mission. And that made tremendous sense to move out to Chester County where there's so much economic growth going on. But I think when Joy walked in the door and saw the need in eastern Delaware County and that there was an opportunity to attract students from Philadelphia if there was a better site, more services being provided there, and that struck me as a really important development opportunity for the college, and I'm so grateful that the board decided to pursue that and fully supported that vision, and that Marta got it from the minute she walked in the door. Well, this makes complete sense. You've got all the healthy growth out there in Chester County, makes absolute sense, but you've also got to meet the need and strengthen your economic base in eastern Delaware County. So I think it's been just an incredibly smart strategic decision as well.
Thank you all. Excuse us. So I'd like to have just one more quick question though. Students like us, soon to be alums and stuff like that, how do you think that we can make a difference in our community?
Get involved. Be leaders out there. Don't be the quiet wallflowers who don't want to push back against things that you see that are not right, that you feel are not right. Go with your heart and just follow your dreams and be vocal. Just like you've been on campus. You both have been invaluable leaders on campus, and we'll miss you when you're gone. You're not allowed to graduate. I've told your instructors to not pass you. Just kidding. But anyway, so really, I take those leadership skills that you've been honing in and use them out in the community and come back as alumni.
I definitely plan on coming back.
And start out by getting involved in Delco Gives Day.
I think you guys have already started by the example you're setting here. I think you also can communicate to your peers about these opportunities. I mean, COVID was a terrible setback for a lot of students, and a lot of students never really figured out what they wanted to do. There's a lot of guys and gals living in their parents' basements, trading on Robinhood bros. We like to reach out to people like that. They can have a fulfilling career, and they could do it on the cheap. So that's what I think.
Thank you so much for sharing that. You may have seen these numbers earlier. I'd like to review them because they're so incredible. These are about the campaign and the transformative potential to our region and are projected for the first 5 years of the Southeast Center's operation. Over 11,000 qualified workers in high priority fields. For every $1 donated, an estimated $11 will be returned in local earnings. DCCC will add $1.5 billion to the local economy. And lastly, 94% of DCCC career and technical students will work in the related major. With that, this is our last question for the group. What do you think is the most important economic impact on the region? What in the college's future are you most excited about or think will bring about the most transformation?
So I think the preparing people to work in the local area workforce is the most important thing, because those businesses need the students, they need the workers, and if they don't have them, they might not survive as businesses. So I think that probably is the most important impact, along with those workers having the wages that they need to support themselves and their family. For me, that is the most important thing. And as far as the future, the sky's the limit, right? If we keep our finger on the pulse and always keep in mind what the region needs and what our students are looking for, I think that DCCC will continue to thrive and be a good support for the entire community.
I would say education at every level, making sure that, from the very beginning, every child is prepared to be a lifelong learner. And I think that's one of the beauties of the community college, is not only the workforce development piece, but also the fact that people like Andy got to go back to school and become an EMT. I mean, there are lifelong learning opportunities at your local community college, and I'm so pleased that there'll now be a Southeast Delco site that is really going to be attractive to people of every income level and throughout their teen and adult years to go back and learn more.
I think Delaware County is fortunate in that geographically it's situated in a tremendous infrastructure base location. I mean, it's a port, it's a major seaport. It's got rail. It sits between, Boston all the way down to Washington, D.C. It's affordable, relatively affordable compared to New York City or certainly Washington, D.C. And it has tremendous infrastructure. And Dr. Cronin talked about AI. Well, AI is going to be a big feature going forward, but you need to have electricity. You need to build server farms. You need to generate electricity for those server farms. A lot of that could be done here in Delaware County.
Thank you, Dr. Cronin, Ms. Sheehan, and Mr. Kelleher. This was really amazing. I really appreciated how we really focused on the fact that we are both a community college, but a college specifically for the rest of this community to grow as a whole. And that's really important, especially as someone who grew up in parts of media and stuff like that. And I've seen the growth just in my few years here. I've been tasked with a few reminders just for everyone else as well, just maybe some homework. I know, I'm college, ha ha ha. But please do check out dccc.edu/campaign for more information about the upcoming location. Or you could talk to Martha Huser, who is sitting in the back there, or Laura Chisholm, who are also in the room. Lastly, consider introducing the college to new friends or family, because it really is important to build this community up while we still can. Thank you.
Great job, Bean. Great job, Needah. Well done.
Thank you so much. So I'd like to add that this is a bittersweet time for me. On one hand, I'm excited that I'm graduating and I'm sure something good is coming forward. However, on the other hand, I'm even very upset that I'll be leaving DCCC, which is really near to my heart. So since DCCC has made such a big difference in my life, I have a new flame to follow. So I aim to be successful enough whereby I can come back and contribute to the community as an alumni one day. Thank you to all of you who came here today. Thank you so much to our speakers and our special guests, including faculty, alumni, student leaders, donors, and partners. Thank you so much once again, and I hope you all have a good day. Thank you.